Apps. Apps are everywhere these days. And there's an app for everything, including the ones for learning foreign languages. And app game-based foreign language learning is likely to become even more important. I myself am a novice language app game developer, and as such, I am deeply interested in exploring how apps can enhance and optimize students' language learning. So for my project team, and my member is in here, Yilang Zhao, our question is, how can we turn language apps into powerful pedagogical tools for second language learning? And to answer this question, we are going to take a particular angle, and that angle is how, rather than thinking about building apps, how do we assess the potency of available apps? So currently, how do we assess the potency of apps? To answer that question, we are going to turn to the two main sanctuaries for apps, for the environmental scan, app stores and Google Play Store. So you already know that when we get there, we will encounter the familiar 5-star rating system and reviews by the users. This 5-star rating system is eloquent and powerful in its simplicity. And when you look at the reviews, it presents a really rich and diverse responses by the users themselves. And we also know that you can find a glowing review right next to one that is not so positive. And another way that we currently easily assess apps is to look at screenshots. These are provided by the game developers themselves, which means that they will choose one particular snapshot of their whole game to give us a sense of the merits of the app that they have provided for the users. So what we have here is that we have two different kinds of assessment. One is available now is general assessment by and for users at large. And when we refer to this current way of assessing apps, they help us to make a decision. Do I purchase this or do I not purchase this? But what we don't have is a targeted assessment for apps as language learning tools. And this one is particularly for language instructors. And I cannot emphasize enough the significance of language instructors' role in this, because they are the ones who can potentially evaluate the efficacy of a particular language learning app, and they can either recommend the app to students or they can incorporate that into their own formal instruction. And they can also work with game developers to create new apps that can best support their students' language learning. So for my team, we wanted to create a rubric-based assessment approach. And to create this rubric-based approach, we take a look at two aspects of an app. One is the content learning, and content is something that you would also learn in a regular classroom situation. But the immediate feedback and overall performance feedback are two features that have a different nuance and timing and pace when you are dealing with apps in a digital environment, learning environment. And to make this learning aspect of a game readily available to our student is exactly how we use design elements to create an interface that will increase the learnability of a particular target lesson through an app. And through the design element, we can also keep and sustain the user's prolonged engagement. And also, how easy is it to play this particular app so that doesn't create yet another obstacle for students who have to learn a foreign language. So what is different about the way we are trying to build this rubric is that instead of just throwing different aspects of a game together to create a language learning game, we would like to base our assessment on theories that have been proven and the emerging theories. So for example, second language learning, serious games, and game-based learning, and other relevant theories. So we are all probably familiar with the serious games, but bringing insights garnered from second language learning would be critically important as we create these rubrics. And it's also important to think about the special attributes of a particular language that will create different types of challenges for our learners. So that's another thing that we need to keep in mind. So as a case study, our team conducted a survey of Mandarin tone language apps, and we found 5 gamified apps for our project. And the way we evaluated this particular set of games is through these categories: tutorial, immediate in-game feedback, level design, game content, fun factors, and playability. And what is important is that these categories will have a theoretical basis for using that particular category, and then we'll add rating systems so you can give a numerical value to the particular game's potency, so that it is much more nuanced than just having 5-star rating system. So to recap, we have identified a need for rubric-based assessment for instructors in particular. And these rubrics will be theory-based. And ultimately, what we like to create is a software that will enable instructors to come and build their own rubrics. So rubrics that are flexible, dynamic, and it's hard to say. You can easily tailor. So I see something like, we have a universal categories that can be applied to all foreign languages. And then another category that is specific to a particular language, and then yet another attribute that is specific to a particular task that need to be learned. So if we create this as a collaborative project, because it will deal with all different languages, then we can create a different kind of sanctuary for our pedagogy-based language learning and for instructors. Thank you.